I'm Bernard Hickey from interest.co.nz and welcome to a special economic weather report brought to you in association with ASB. Today I'm going to look at the exciting area of bond yields, and in particular the 2 and 5 year bond yield rates in New Zealand. Now this means government bond yields, so it's the debt that the government is going to have to raise over the next 5 years simply to pay for the deficits that we're running. Remember, we've got deficits out for the next decade or so at current forecasts. Unless the government changes something drastically, with either its income through tax changes or by spending, by cutting spending heavily in the government, we're not going to see a change to that deficit track. Now, to give you an idea of what's happened to interest rates, this up here is the 2-year government bond yield in New Zealand, which is up substantially in the last 6 months or so, as many in the market expect about $40 billion worth of bonds to flood into the market in the next 4 to 5 years. Over here you can see a chart for the 5-year government bond yield, and the increase there is even more dramatic, up from under 4% to close to 6%. That's because many people in the international markets are looking at that 5-year period and saying that's quite a big commitment, $40 billion or so, and over such a long period of time. Who knows what's going to happen to inflation over that period? So what we're seeing is that big government deficit track over the next decade and the big borrowing over the next 5 years of $40 billion is increasing interest rates in New Zealand. And the question remains too that a lot of that borrowing will be done offshore, although in New Zealand dollars. And that means when people lend to us, they're having to buy New Zealand dollars before they do it. That is going to push up the value of the New Zealand dollar and make life much harder for exporters. So there is a real cost to these deficits that are being run over the next decade or so. I'm Bernard Hickey. That was a special economic weather report brought to you in association with ASB.